So ever since the debut of SNL's 50th anniversary and the moment that Tom Hanks portrayed a Trump supporter and MAGA in its entirety, it really backfired on his career. It backfired on NBC to the point that showrunner and executive producer Lorne Michaels had to step in and canceled roughly 10 additional skits where Tom Hanks was supposed to play different Trump supporters through different regions of the United States that were going to be done throughout the remainder of 2025 on SNL. That is no longer happening. He has been excluded from those skits, and those skits in isolation are also cancelled and axed outright. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new, and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So Tom Hanks, we know that he has been engaging in damage control ever since he received that record-breaking backlash that he did not see coming, and it's for sure that he did not see this coming, because we all saw what was going on at the SNL 50th anniversary and what he did on stage, portraying a Trump supporter in the worst way possible, mind you. It truly did backfire. I didn't find it funny. I actually found it to be very much offensive when it came to how he did things, and how he also basically responded to the backlash, about a week or two ago, when it came to everything involving SNL and the preparation and the aftermath of the whole skit. I mean, there's a lot of things going on with this. However, when it comes to Tom Hanks and what he had to additionally say about the backlash and how this is yet serving as another form of damage control, it's probably the worst thing that you could say yet after everything that happened with SNL's 50th. Let's get into this. Now, with Tom Hanks still to this day engaging in damage control after he performed the skit on SNL's 50th as a Trump supporter, one massive development going on now involves how Tom Hanks said one of the worst things in his career as an actor after receiving endless backlash on SNL. Hanks delivered the following: "I think when you are an actor, it is very important to explore and share your political beliefs if it leads to you creating a divisive moment, because that's something that you can't really control. And NBC and even I thought it was very important that we needed to share our message to the world on what we thought about MAGA and Trumpism and everything that is just very toxic and divisive in this country right now. When you engage in comedy, you have to be funny, and I do think that we delivered. Whenever you are in show business and you share your political spectrum, you are going to inevitably deal with a loud, opinionated, and toxic minority that can really make themselves sound clear and large, as if they are the majority of Americans. I don't think we were being criticized by the majority of fine Americans in this country. I really don't. I think it's the same as always when you are in show business, especially when you find yourself in political comedy skits, is that you are always going to attract the unhinged minority of those that are willing to say whatever is necessary on their mind, even if it holds no logic. I have no doubt in my mind about what we did at NBC was wrong, but they of course felt differently and wanted to do different things for the future. Comedy is about sharing your message, whether it's through politics or whatever, and that's what we did by exposing some of the wrongs within MAGA that need to be addressed and fixed, and I think that we engaged in many accuracies of how Trumpism is and how its followers act in this country. You have to laugh about it all, and about it sometimes, you really do. The great thing about comedy is you can make jokes while also sharing your message to the world for how you see the world, and some people in this case under this presidency." Now guys, let me just stop here for one moment. Basically, Tom Hanks is literally admitting that it's exactly what I've been saying time and time again, that what he did on SNL's 50th was nothing more than comedy, or basically an agenda disguised as comedy. That's basically what it was, or how Ricky Gervais put it, is that it was a comedy skit camouflaged as basically this agenda, if you will, or vice versa. And again, we already know that Tom Hanks is trying to just save his career at this point because he is bleeding fans. He is losing millions upon millions of fans. I think that he didn't realize that a lot of his fans were Trump supporters. A lot of his fans were those that are within the MAGA movement. And he didn't really realize that well over 80 million people follow Tom Hanks. And that's exactly why his Instagram followers are also going down. That's exactly why he also has his comments still disabled to this day. Unless it changed at the minute. You guys can actually update that below in the comments if you would like, but as of March 2nd, his comments are still disabled on Instagram. So I find it kind of funny that he says how he's so confident that it's a loud minority and how it's a very loud, opinionated, toxic minority creating all of the vocal, opinionated comments out there. And if it's such a minority, why would you want to disable your comments, right? Well, in fact, it is the majority of the country that had a very big problem with how he displayed his view of Trump supporters, his view of MAGA, and how he himself is creating this very big division. But moving onwards, he goes on to elaborate further. This is a free country after all, but I think that we are all dealing with a generation that can't really take comedy well anymore. It's why so many stand-up comedians are suffering right now in that business and in that field, and it's a tough reality. It's a hard truth comedians have to deal with. I think I miss the generation of my time when audiences took anything and laughed about it at it now. Now, if you make one simple joke about a certain truth of MAGA, it just gets ugly and it gets very scary. So I don't know what else to say. I think cancel culture should be non-existent. People should say or do as they please when it involves skits without the fear of being ridiculed. And guys, let me just stop here about Tom Hanks and what he's throwing out there again. Yes, it is a free country, but at the same exact time, look, you can make all the comedy skits you want, but in return, people, the audience that are actually watching your skit, since it's a free country, we have the freedom of not actually liking your skit or talking about how terrible your skit really is. And look, there are some people out there that liked that comedy bit. I'm not going to criticize you out there. Again, people have their own opinions, people have their own feelings about things, and that is very well respected in my mind and can be shared below in the comments. But I, for one, found it to be very offensive. It came from a very bad place, I felt. Even Mel Gibson talked about this. Bill Maher even talked about this, of all people, that it really did come from a very bad place, and it really tainted his image as an actor. But again, he goes on to conclude, but that's just me. The truth is you have to call things out for what they are in a funny fashion to lighten up the mood. And I guess Trump supporters just don't understand comedy quite well just yet. So again, I mean, I think that this is partially coming from the fact that Joy Behar was pressuring Tom Hanks to speak up a bit more about the backlash, and she had a lot of criticisms about Tom Hanks, about how he was being too silent about things. Maybe it's coming from that, who knows, but it seems like he's getting very more defensive and really getting more involved in damage control. Again, I think a lot of this is just coming from being very bitter because he had a lot of falling out moments with Lorne Michaels, the executive producer at SNL, the showrunner of all things there, and it really did not work well in the long run. It wasn't just the Trump supporter skits that got canceled. There were other political comedy skits that Tom Hanks was going to be involved in throughout the remainder of 2025. Those are also not happening anymore, and a lot of it had to do with the backlash and the ratings for SNL, because those took a very big nosedive after that. And whether or not they recover, they most likely will, to be honest. It did lose a lot of fans. A lot of people just bailed on SNL after that. But overall, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.